In the bustling Nigerian town of Obinagu, where red earth roads twisted around lush green farmlands and a cacophony of market vendors filled the air, Mr. Emeka was known as a man of modest means but big dreams. Born into a family of subsistence farmers, Emeka was not destined for greatness by birth, but his determination to rise above his circumstances had always set him apart. In his youth, Emeka was like many others in Obinagu, ambitious but unsure how to chart his course. His turning point came when a friend gifted him a copy of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Though the language and examples in the book were foreign to his Nigerian context, Emeka recognized the timeless wisdom it held. As he turned each page, he made up his mind he would apply these lessons to achieve his ultimate goal, to become a respected leader in his community and eventually a political figure. The first principle Emeka adopted was to avoid criticism. The political climate in Obinagu was rife with blame and mudslinging. Emeka observed that many aspiring leaders failed to gain support because they alienated people with harsh words. When Emeka began attending community meetings, he listened more than he spoke. When others criticized the incumbent council leader, Chief Okoro, for poor governance, Emeka refrained. Instead, he would say, "Chief Okoro has done his best in challenging circumstances. Our task is to see how we can build on what he started." This approach earned him respect. People began to see him as a level-headed thinker who sought solutions rather than assigning blame. Emeka realized that many leaders failed to recognize the contributions of others. Determined to be different, he made it a habit to genuinely appreciate the efforts of those around him. At a town hall meeting, for instance, he praised Madam Nneka, a widowed farmer, for her efforts in organizing the women to clean the village square. "You have shown us what community spirit looks like," he said, smiling warmly. "You are a beacon of hope for all of us." This simple act of acknowledgement won over Madam Nneka and her network of women, who would later become some of Emeka's most ardent supporters. Emeka knew that people needed to see how his vision would benefit them personally. During his campaign, instead of merely stating his desire to run for the local council, he asked probing questions. "What do you think our community needs most? How can we improve education for our children? What would make our markets more profitable?" By listening intently and weaving the people's aspirations into his campaign promises, Emeka made his candidacy about them, not himself. He promised better farm-to-market roads, modern irrigation systems, and scholarships for bright but underprivileged children. It was his genuine interest in the lives of others. He would visit people in their homes, sit under mango trees, and listen to stories of their struggles and triumphs. When Pa Ikom, a retired school teacher, shared how he struggled to get his pension, Emeka made it his mission to help. Through his connections, Emeka facilitated the release of Pa Ikom's long-overdue pension. The news spread quickly, and people began to see him not just as a politician but as a man who cared. Though it seemed a simple gesture, Emeka's warm smile became one of his most effective tools. Whether he was greeting market women, shaking hands with village elders, or playing football with the youth, his smile put people at ease. "He has a way of making you feel like you're the most important person in the room," said Chokudi, a local carpenter who became one of Emeka's campaign volunteers. Emeka made it a point to remember people's names. It wasn't easy at first, especially with so many faces in the community, but he kept a small notebook where he jotted down names and details about each person. At a rally, he spotted a young boy in the crowd and called out, "Obina, how is your mother? Has her leg healed?" The boy beamed with joy, and his family became lifelong supporters. During his campaign, Emeka hosted listening sessions where he encouraged people to voice their concerns. He took notes diligently, asking follow-up questions to show he truly understood. When farmers complained about middlemen exploiting them, Emeka proposed the creation of a cooperative that would allow them to sell their produce directly to consumers. This idea resonated deeply with the farmers, who saw Emeka as someone who not only listened but also acted. At the local church fundraiser, Emeka spoke not about his ambitions but about the importance of building a stronger community. He highlighted how supporting the church would benefit their children and attract development projects. "I'm not here as a politician," he said. "I'm here as a son of Obinagu who wants to see our community thrive." One day, Emeka visited Chief Okoro, the man he hoped to replace. Many thought this was a political stunt, but Emeka's intentions were genuine. "Chief," he said, bowing respectfully, "you have laid a foundation for us. I seek your blessing as I continue the work you started." Chief Okoro, moved by the gesture, became one of Emeka's silent allies, encouraging his followers to support the young man. As the election approached, Emeka's popularity soared. His strategy was not just to campaign but to build relationships. He organized free medical camps, youth football tournaments, and skill acquisition workshops. On election day, the people of Obinogu turned out in droves. They saw in Emeka not just a politician but a leader who understood them, respected them, and genuinely cared for their welfare. When the results were announced, Emeka emerged victorious. The celebrations that followed were unprecedented, with people dancing in the streets and singing his praises. True to his word, Emeka fulfilled his campaign promises. Roads were repaired, the cooperative was established, and the first batch of scholarships was awarded. But more importantly, he continued to listen, appreciate, and engage with the people who had entrusted him with leadership. Years later, when Emeka contested for a higher office, his track record and personal connections carried him to victory once again. His story became a blueprint for aspiring leaders in Obinogu and beyond, a testament to the power of relationships, empathy, and genuine care for others. Emeka's rise to political prominence was not an accident. By applying the principles from how to win friends and influence people, he demonstrated that leadership is not about wielding power but about serving people. His story reminds us that even in the competitive world of politics, authenticity and kindness can pave the way to success.